Allow me at this moment to welcome our Honorable Minister of Science and Technology and Innovation, Dr. Monica Musenero, who is a diversely trained and skilled consultant and scientist with extensive national and international experience. She has previously worked with Makerere University and the Uganda Ministry of Health. As if that's not enough, she was actually behind the well-being of Uganda when it came to managing the pandemic COVID-19 that was harassing not only Uganda, but the entire globe. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome our Honorable Minister, Dr. Monica Musenero, for our keynote speech.
The organizers of this wonderful summit, and since I'm not very familiar with who is in the room, please allow me to say all protocol observed. Good morning, all of us who are online and all of us who are here. Allow me to take off my mask. It's a great privilege for me to be here today. So I'll be sharing some things. Some of them will make you a bit uncomfortable. But before I go into that, let me put a preamble. I'm a born-again Christian, very devout. So my statement in no way will indicate a lack of faith in God. But I guess yesterday we have heard through that. So, because I believe that if we don't tackle some of these things, Africa will stay underdeveloped. It will not reach the potential because there are certain things we have embraced. So my keynote this morning will stay within the boundaries and the role of innovation and technology in achieving Africa's Agenda 2063. That's the Africa we want. And so through this presentation, we will go through just a brief reminder of what exactly is this Africa we want, what is this Agenda 2063, and what are the key things that we would like to see. Then we'll look at the status and what are some of those things which have caused those problems, where we are. And then we'll share some of the solutions. And lastly, I'll share what we're doing in Uganda to build a prototype with science, technology, and innovation, basically to address a number of those things. So what is this Africa Agenda 2063? This agenda, which was developed 2013, or publicized 2013 and adopted, as the African Union wanted to renew the effort started 50 years ago. Because after so many years of African unity and African ambition from independence, we were still in very uncomfortable positions. And so this agenda was developed as a strategic framework for the socio-economic transformation of the continent for the next 50 years. We really hope that this will be a transformation, and it states the vision, it states the ambition of what we want to have as Africans. We want to have an integrated, prosperous, and peaceful Africa. The integration, of course, is discussed in different levels, but we really want to have development driven by the citizens. And I remember when the current millennium at the dawn, it was declared this is the Africa millennium. This is our millennium. This is the millennium where Africa will come out of the lament rooms and become an adult and begin to take responsibility. Among the many things that Africa must do is socio-economic transformation. Now, I have studied that subject quite deeply. What does it mean to have socio-economic transformation? It refers to this continuous process of people changing and evolving and getting out of the crude way of living and moving into more organized, more heaven-like living. Heaven is the prototype of developed. So if they describe it as the streets paved with gold, and for you, you are walking in a muddy, potholed environment, you are underdeveloped. You need to be transformed. I hope I'm making sense. Then we have the societal transformation. This is the deep, sustained, it's not linear, but it engages more than just economic. It's not just money. It is the behavior, it's the way people carry themselves, the expectation out of life, the quality of relationships, the contribution to society. When people no longer look at their lives as disposable, when you look at your life as disposable, you die and nobody cares. You can have economic transformation without having societal transformation. But they are all components of socioeconomic transformation. Socioeconomic development is what we measure in these indicators: GDP, gross national product, life expectancy, literacy rates. Those are results, outcomes of the changes which have occurred in the societal transformation. So socioeconomic transformation as defined by this Agenda 2063, and this is reflected in national visions, strategic directions, at least is reflected in Uganda's strategic direction, and I've looked at many countries, they all have this desire. So now when you bring together all that, you'll achieve the socio-economic transformation. Economic transformation or economic development itself does not transform society, because you can have a few people own money and the country has a very high GDP, but yet people are living in squalor, and you create an artificial well-being of a nation. So this sum of social and economic transformation, where we have the economic development, the societal transformation, all of these coming together, is what Africa is aspiring. That's what we mean. And the sweet thing in there is that this must be driven by the nationals. This must be driven by the people. We are a little bit far off. Still, a lot of efforts to transform are being driven externally. Until you have the capability to make the decisions for development and grow it organically, you cannot have socio-economic transformation. You may have economic development, but not socio-economic transformation. Society will not be transformed. And any nation that has tried simply to push economic development without looking at the entire societal transformation has found itself in a position they don't like. So what Africa is aspiring is to lift the entire baseline of our society from one level to the other. That's what that statement is saying. So the beginning point for transforming Africa is the transformation of the individual. Is for us to transform the individual. It doesn't matter how much we will go and paint. We can paint on the surface. We can put up nice new buildings. But if we have not transformed the person who is supposed to drive this change, it's not going to be sustainable, it's not going to be true, it's not going to be real. And what are the key outcomes that we expect? Of course, we expect an integrated Africa. This could be political, but we just need to live happily together. We just need to work together. Right now, Africa is so fragmented. We are fragmented at national borders. We are fragmented within the national borders by region, by tribe, by clan, by family line in the clan. If it is in the one home and there is polygamy, by which wife? We are fragmented by religion. We are fragmented by all sorts of things. Then we need peace and prosperity. Definitely the coverage of peace has improved and is been improving. We've had a few things going back. Without peace, you cannot do anything. Then the prosperity. Prosperity is both physical, but it is first mental. The human beings need to feel there is prosperity. Otherwise, they can feel poor amidst wealth. And then Africa begins to take prestige and begins to take her position at the table of international affairs. That's what we are aspiring for. What's the role of innovation? Now, I want to tell you that the demise of innovation and development of technology is the immediate cause of the state of affairs. Now, the root causes are there, and we'll touch a little bit. Because when a country adopts innovation, innovation is simply coming up with new ideas, better ways of doing things. Whether it is a system, it's a technology, but when a country or when a people adopt innovation, then the people produce more. They begin to produce more with the same amount or fewer resources, thereby increasing productivity, and it is then this productivity which will grow the economy. Now, I can grow GDP by bringing in money from outside. I can tell you that that money will wash off and go back where it came from, unless you have the innovative minds within the society. So when a society promotes innovativeness of the people, then that society uses the same amount or even fewer resources and produces greater value. And this is all that what my ministry is about. Can we bring innovation? Sometimes you live and walk on the street, it's as if the innovation gene was deleted from us. If you want to know that, just check what you're wearing. Now, innovation and human capital. Innovation, research, technology, development is the key driver which brings out socio-economic transformation. Any society that tries to live on a higher standard, either by simply harvesting natural resources, you can harvest natural resources, but you have no societal transformation, you know what will happen? They'll start fighting over the natural resources. And as they are busy fighting, somebody else will take the natural resources. Now, human capital refers to the production factors coming from human beings creating goods and services. These are the skills, the knowledge, the habits, the attitudes. So that's what I'm talking about, the development of the society, the way people view themselves, the value in themselves. When people's knowledge is high, then every small thing is quickly handled. When they have skill, they can turn a piece of wood into a highly priced piece of treasure. If their habits are not damaging, you've seen here, anytime people are discontent, they go and put tires on the road and burn. Now, if you knew the cost of making 1 meter of tarmac road, you'd not do that. So this building of the creativity of nationals, of Africans, the societal, the personality attributes, those which are then brought together, they are the ones going to determine the value of your natural resources. So then, why do nations now need this science, technology, and innovation? That STI is that. Why do we need this? Now, as I'll be saying in a few minutes, we are very aware that we need science, technology, and innovation as nations. And every day, you are using technology, but you don't consider ourselves as part of the development of it. We are extremely good users of technology. I'm using technology to speak, but we don't relate that to our own need to develop technology. And then there has been, especially over the past 30 years, there has been a push in most African countries to bring science, technology, and innovation. We put it in the places where we have a high level of knowledge, the universities and research institutions, and then they became an idol itself. It just rotates in there. It rotates within the university with the research institute. When you go outside the fence, they don't connect. The population doesn't connect to that. The high level of knowledge in the university is not reflected in society. And this is because we made science, technology, and innovation something of its own. It's a world of its own. It is separate. And the society doesn't identify with it. And any institution that coexists where science, where your innovativeness is not solving problems, whether you're a church and you have a well-polished church building and all around is squalor, then you're doing something else. Your innovativeness is not building the human capital. These words are three, and here we try to simplify them. Science is the knowledge, technology is the applied knowledge to create something, and then innovation is the packaging to solve problems. That is how we have tried to simplify it. So we have had science, technology, and innovation on the continent for a long time. Before colonialism, the Africans were developing. As we have said and already agreed, Africans are spiritual. So within our context, Africa, and like all societies, the way God created them, He created society to grow. And so most of the African society, one, they had spirituality. And within the context of the spirituality and relating with a higher being, it doesn't matter how they viewed. It may have been a spirit, an ancestral spirit, or in the tree, or a god somewhere in the water. But in that religiosity, in that religion, human beings started to develop and organize their environments. And up till colonial times, or the coming of the external world to start slave trade and all that, African society was harnessing the environment through technology. They were able to invent fire, they were able to do iron. Actually, they were doing better with the iron than we are doing now, because they were able to convert the minerals in the environment into tools, stones into tools. Now we import. So they were developing. Then at colonialism, we got two packages, which I'm going to talk about, where I say they might make you feel uncomfortable. These two packages were education and religion. Let me start with religion. Both of these packages were introduced to us as incomplete. They were incomplete. They may not be false, they're just not complete. They are not the whole package as it is supposed to be. So the African, I lived in an environment, my spirituality was integrated with my livelihood. And as I grew in my livelihood, I grew in my spirituality, and the way I perceive the spiritual powers evolve with me. But they are integrated with how I look at my livelihood, how I look at what I am doing. So I see God in those things as I change, as I grow. So all societies will tell you there was an ancient version of faith, and then there was this current version. And Africans started noticing there are medicinal trees in their environment. So beyond just going to worship, they started taking those trees. And even when the colonialists came or the other explorers came, they found that we could cure malaria, and it was developing, and we had now medicine men, we had metalsmiths, we were evolving well. The spirituality was growing with livelihood, with the technology growing. Now enter the people who brought us the faith. They disrupted, they disconnected. And I want you to understand me, because this is the problem. If we don't solve it, we will preach, we will hold summits, and Africa will continue wallowing. So we disconnected spirituality from livelihood. And that's why up to now, people go to church to pray, and then they go out to look for a living. So they disconnected because the African spirituality was found to be evil and satanic. And so the spirituality was replaced. But that replacement of spirituality did not include livelihood connected to that spirituality. So that is why, as a young child going to church, there was this clear demarcation between my Sunday life and my Monday to Saturday life. And people would tell you, you see, these are things of God, and then these are things of the world. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. So this separation is so ingrained. The Christianity did not come linked to evolve with livelihood. But we still needed to live. So the livelihood was substituted by importing knowledge, importing technology, and you immediately became a market. So instead of developing the chinkona tree and thinking about, okay, leaves, how many do we give the people? Which is a better version, boiled or what? ICI, those of you who are older, the ICI, where now the quinine has been extracted. So you are given a tablet. Now the chinkona tree, which is the source, is wicked and satanic, but the ICI, the white tablet, is now associated with your newfound faith. Are we together? So this disconnection continues today. And the African struggles, we struggle to connect the spirituality we have. We struggle to connect the gospel, and that religion which was brought disconnected the African from God. The livelihood of the African got disconnected from God. And this is reflected in that in some faiths, becoming a servant or becoming a minister, you had to swear to poverty. And actually it disconnected our spirituality from the Bible. Because for me, I don't know too much about the Quran. I know the Bible. The Bible, the principles in the Bible are very different from what we are taught in church. They are totally different. You know, I find, as you were told, I am an epidemiologist. I control disease. I control epidemics. You just wake me up, tell me 2-3 things about that disease, and I'll tell you, first start and do this 1, 2, 3. That's my profession, it's in the blood. But I am continuously struggling with Christians. They have a modern lifestyle, but they have a backward technology disconnected. If you're going to find anybody, for example, opposing vaccines, it will start in the church. Because they have never developed their understanding. And I keep saying, okay, if you don't trust what these people are developing, where is the church-founded laboratories where we can develop what you trust? Where is that science that is ingrained in the church? Where is it? So you said it. So the Christian or the African religious person spends all that time delegating their livelihoods to God. We are asking God to do what we are supposed to do. So we go and pray. Now when you get ideas, we call that now you are being worldly. We don't want to develop our minds. We disconnect the mind from God. So our ecosystem of religion is one of the most hindering developments. But until we identify how it actually affects us, it blocks our analysis and study of God's creation, which is the biggest wealth that God gave us. So this ecosystem of religion, which continuously disconnects the African from innovation, from owning and being a source of technology, is one of the biggest challenges that we must overcome.
Welcome aboard the safest airline in Africa. With industry-leading safety measures to protect your well-being. The first in Africa to earn a diamond standard of safety. offering a more contactless, safe, and seamless experience. Delivered with a smile by Africa's first fully vaccinated crew. Creating special memories that bring the joy back to flying, so you can continue making memories with your loved ones. Book your flight with RwandAir today. RwandAir, the safest airline in Africa.
RwandAir, fly the dream of Africa.
So we pick travelers, our typical customers are people flying in and out of the country. So we pick those from the airport to wherever they're going and back. And we do this through a network of driver partners for whom we give regular business and improve livelihoods. They can book through WhatsApp, they can call us, they can email us. We just try to make it as simple and convenient, as seamless as possible for our customers.
I first met UMB when I was at the crossroads of my business. I had a serious problem, and UMB has made it possible for me to still stand today. How did they do this? They did not work and put me in a box. They looked at me as an individual and got a product from me which helped me to survive the period. Banks should look at it and see how they can also go that way to be able to meet individual customers, tailor products to suit the individual customers, and not to just box everybody together.